Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Chai and Chat with Neha. I'm super excited to have you all here. In this episode, I will be sharing a little about myself so you can get to know me better. I hope you enjoy listening as much as I loved creating this for you. So, what are we waiting for? Let's dive in.
Welcome to the very first episode of Chai and Chat with Neha. Today, we are turning the spotlight on none other than Neha herself. We'll dive into some of her life experiences, lessons, and the stories that make her who she is. So grab a cup of chai and join us for a fun little conversation. So, Neha, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm a working mom, moved to Canada 14 years back, and I have been in US for last 10 years. Currently, I live in Seattle with my husband and a 6-year-old son.
Alright, so let's delve into what prompted your move to Canada. What was your thought process?
At first, I moved to Canada for my higher studies and in the hopes of better life.
Alright, so did you find a better life?
Good one. Well, I think life is still a work in progress, but I would like to think it's definitely getting better. When I moved to Canada, there was nobody who could guide me on what to do, what not to do, and this made me an independent person and gave me a sense of responsibility and confidence that I can take care of things by myself. Back home, I was so dependent on my parents, even for small little things. And when I moved to a different country, I learned how to figure things on my own. So I think I'm growing as a person and I'm happy how things are shaping out now.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that it's shaping out well for you. But 15 years in a new country, there must have been challenges, right? So, what would you think was the biggest challenge you faced when you moved to Canada, and what did you do to overcome it?
Uh, I think, wow, I have to go back 15 years to just think about it. But yeah, I think around that time there was no Skype, no WhatsApp. And when I moved to a country which was way different than India. There was like in India, I mean, we have a lot of people around us. But when I moved to Canada, hardly I could see anybody around on the streets. So I felt so lonely, and then I wanted to talk to my parents, but I couldn't because there was no Skype, no WhatsApp, or any of the technology that exists now. Very different state of mind I I got into at that point in time. But thankfully, I had family, friends, cousins whom helped me with coping up with how I was feeling. And yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge. I could go back and think about it now.
That's amazing. It's always nice to have a support group,
Oh,
to
yes.
help out in times where things are difficult and you're new to a place.
Sure. I think the one thing that I still feel the same in regarding to a new place is, I mean, somebody just said, and I saw this reel where they are saying that we are too foreign for our own country now, and now here we are too foreign for this country, and I still feel the same. Like I still feel that we are trying to fit in, right? Like I there's no sense of belonging still. Like I feel like if I think about India, the India that I left behind 15 years back is it's stuck in time for me. I cannot decipher like where it is right now. And it's been 10 years since I have been to India. So I can I can only imagine what India has been so far. And I mean the reels that I see from India is phenomenal. I mean, I still get emo just to think about it. But yes. Um
Yeah, I guess you're long overdue for a trip to India.
oh, everyone tells me the same thing.
All right. If you had to pick one thing that you missed most about India, what would that be?
Family, of course. Apart from family, food. Oh my god, food, yes. I still remember. those Activa rides after tuition straight to Golgappa person and just like having Golgappas there, the dahi wale Golgappa, like oh my god, I can still savor that in my mouth. I am a big foodie, as you can see.
Yeah, I can relate to that, but the kind of food that I grew up on was slightly different, mostly like vadas and idlis and stuff like that because I grew up in South India. But yeah, I get the general sentiment. All right. One thing that you don't miss about India?
Oh, that's wow, that's a difficult one. I I would say hot Indian summers. Because given that I live in Seattle, which only gets summer for like 3 months a year, I guess, and we keep on praying for sun to come out for the rest of the year. So I don't know how I'm gonna do with the hot weather in India anymore, given that my parents tell me every time in summer how hot it is getting every year. And yeah, it's sad on one part where climate change is happening, but I guess I would like to think that it would be difficult for me now to go back, and in summers especially.
Makes sense. Speaking of food, what's your most favorite Indian food?
Uh, can I pick three?
Sure.
Makki ki roti, sarson ka saag, aloo paratha with white butter on top, and malai ghevar.
Oh man, you're making me hungry now. Let's talk about parenting a little bit. What values from Indian culture um, do you try to pass on to your son, and how do you ensure that he stays connected with his roots while adapting to the American lifestyle?
The very first thing that comes to my mind is respect for elders. Basically, we are trying to teach him how to greet elders with respect and value their wisdom. Um, Second thing I would like to think is family bonding. Um, so what we do is on every Friday we have made this family Fridays where we are playing games together as a family so that he understands that the value of the family, and we are there for each other. Third, I would like to add is celebrations of festivals. Um, Basically, why festivals are important and why we celebrate them. And he thoroughly enjoys all the festivals. He loves wearing Indian clothes. He loves wearing his kurta pajamas. So, um, I I I think he's growing well there, and he's learning a lot about our culture, happily. The last thing I would like to add is diversity. Basically respect for diversity. I speak Hindi. I come from North India, and my husband, he is Gujarati, but then he's brought up in Tamil Nadu. So we are trying to teach him all these languages and how many languages are there in India and around the world, and how to respect that diversity.
All right, so you've been in North America for close to 14, 15 years now, right? Like, but if you had to pick one thing that you still feel like you haven't adapted to, what would that be?
Oh, I cannot wrap my head around Fahrenheits or ounces. I am still a metric person, and I still go around Celsius and liters. Miles I could do since I'm driving here now, so I cannot resonate to kilometers anymore. But yes, Fahrenheits and ounces are still a problem in my head.
All right. Let's see if we can end this on a funny note. Um, if you had to pick one funny or awkward moment you had while, adapting to the life in US, what would that be?
Oh my God. Can I talk about an incident that happened with me?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
I'm so glad that I didn't blurt it out. Uh, But it was very initial time when I moved to Canada. I was standing in this um, smoothie store where I was like going through the what's on the board and the menu, and I was like looking at every other listing, and it was like kale, kale, kale. I was like, what's this kale, kale? I was like still thinking in my head, and thank goodness for that girl who came in the store and she's like, oh, can I have a kale and banana smoothie? And I'm like, oh, so this is kale and not kale. I'm so glad that saved me the embarrassment.
This was fun. Thank you, Neha, for sharing your journey and insights with us. Wishing Chai and Chat with Neha all the success it deserves.
Thank you so much.